perception is positive. I think we are viewed as good players on campus. And how I think we can go in the future is I think that as we gain more recognition, particularly for our expertise in sustainability and resilience, in its practical applications in the design of real environments, I think that there's an unlimited potential of what we can do to help the campus and help our perception on campus. Yeah. Yes, Casey.
You mentioned how we've grown over time. I'm curious to know if you think, are we currently about the right size, or do you think we should grow? And if we grow, you can think of that in a couple of ways. It could either be sort of expanding on the units that we have, making them larger, adding new units sort of internally. Urban design became a new thing. Or collaborating with existing sort of symbiotic units on campus. So without prejudicing the second answer, by whether you think we should grow, if we do grow, which of those sorts of
things? Yeah, I think one of the things that's really abundantly clear, at least to those of us in architecture, is we've sort of reached our capacity in dealing with people. We are right now strapped in terms of the faculty resources that we have to teach the students that we have, and we are strapped in terms of space. So the kind of growth that we do has to be clever growth. It has to be growth that might involve a cohort abroad so that we can have folks in the building at various points in time. It may be taking better advantage of the summer sessions, having more coursework done in the summer sessions, shortening the time span that it takes for folks to get through the degree track and get out into practice. I think there are a number of variables as to how that might happen. I think that it might be repositioning within the various programs. It may be sort of shrinking cohorts at the undergraduate level, growing cohorts at the post-professional level that might get us to where we need to be. I think that's also part of something that is part of that strategic conversation of where we need to be. Do I think we're at the right size? I think that the external answer from the provost is no, you need to be bigger. That's the provost's answer. Now, the problem is that we have the shekels to get us there. And that's, like you and I have only seen part of the coffer as your role of director and my role of director. I've never seen the whole coffer open up. That is an interesting question as to whether we have the resources to grow. If we can grow, if we have the resources to follow, one way of getting the resources is through development. Another way of getting the resources is increasing our research footing so that we can actually be able to offer more work within the school. But at our present situation, we have to be clever about how we would do that. I don't know if that answers your question. Thanks, Casey. Yes, Michael.
So I think we've seen an increase in the responsibility of graduate students within the school and their roles that they play. And I think for the first year we had an assessment of the graduate student experience through the Gallup Thriving Workplace thing. I'm interested in what you think the role of graduate students is in this school, and potentially if we are meeting that goal, or if there's something we should be doing or you plan on doing to address some of those concerns from graduate students.
I think there's probably a lot of lack of equity between the graduate students' experiences, particularly in GA-TA positions. There are clearly some GA-TA positions that are pretty cushy, and people sit around and not do so much, and there are other ones where people work really hard and beyond the 10 or 15 hours a week that they're compensated for. Joe and I have been working this semester on just looking at the shop GAs and the usage of the shop and gathering data about that. We don't really have that, we have time cards, but we don't know how people really use these facilities. And so we're trying to figure out how that is being used to try to make assessments, because we spend an awful lot of money in one place, but it might be worth our effort to take a little bit of money from one place that's being underutilized and place it over into another place that is currently overburdened to make the experience of graduate students better. What I can tell you is that at least within my program, within architecture, we can't run the program without the graduate students. The graduate students are absolutely essential to the way that the programs work, particularly in instruction of undergraduates. We have some very talented people that do yeoman service, and they do that a lot of times competing against time on their own work. So I think that's something that we do need to take a close look at moving forward, and that would be something I'd gladly embrace over the course of the intermediate period. Yeah. Yes?
Do you have any plans or goals to collaborate more with other departments on campus, environmental science, technology, stuff like that, other than solely decathlon, things like classes, programs, research, etc.?
Well, I think one of the things that's curious is that if we are a school of the built environment, we're a school that prides ourselves on architecture, urbanism, preservation, and development in America. There's one key thing that's missing. Think about American cities. Think about American cities are abundant with landscape. And landscape architecture is on the other side of the campus. We're not going to be able, I have no desire to wrestle with landscape architecture. We've seen that happen before. But I've talked to the provost about this. We have a good relationship with landscape architecture. We have a couple in the room. And we're very happy to have them in the room with us. But what we'd like to be able to do is to build a better, stronger relationship. And very often, we have reciprocity where if a student comes to me and says, I want to take a course in landscape architecture, so long as landscape will let them, and usually landscape will say yes, they can come take the course. Those kinds of things I think are important. I think there are other places in public health that perhaps are areas that we want to look at, particularly for work in urban design. And also in a nascent program that we're looking at, an undergraduate minor in interior design. We'd want to look at those kinds of programs to see where we had common ground. Certainly, we've developed a good relationship with engineering. That didn't exist before. When I came here, there was like a firewall. You had to walk all the way across campus, and then you get to the door of engineering, it was like the door at Oz. The doorbell was broken, and the slot would open up and say, go away, and the door would close. Today, with the leadership in engineering, and with the great performance in delivery by our teams in the solar decathlon, we have a very good relationship. We've even started a minor program in construction project management that's been very successful, and we look forward to kind of growing that kind of relationship into the future. So I think that there are other places on campus, and I'd be all ears to listen to directions that we might go to build stronger relationships. Do you have any ideas in particular?
I actually come from AD&R.
Okay.
And so, for example, a lot of the students from the environmental science technologies department, a lot of times they try to do things involving architecture, and from there, they come from a scientific background, so I've taken most architecture classes over here, and they don't really know what to do a lot of times. So.
We have to reach out to them better, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. What's interesting in our thesis program in architecture, our students actually reach out to people over, some of the experts in hydroponics and stuff like that, and agriculture, and they make their speculative theses even more real. And that's been a great thing that's happened in the past. Participation in thesis committees by folks from other places on campus. Any other questions? Yes?
So you talked about fundraising at the very beginning and kind of all throughout, and I'm kind of wondering where do you see the priorities and where do you see the best potential for prospects and donors?
So I certainly, this is a discussion I've never had with any of the development folks. The directors have not been part of that discussion in the past.
And should they be?
Yeah. In fact, actually, the directors should also be part of the discussion with the Board of Visitors. We have been largely kept out of that for the past 15 or so years. And that's embarrassing because what happens is many of the people on the Board of Visitors are our friends. We meet them elsewhere. They'll come up to us and say, what do you think about that great initiative that the dean was talking about? And you stand there and look at them absolutely blankly and say, I have no idea what you're talking about because I'm out of the loop on that because nobody's told me about that because I wasn't in the room with you guys. So number one is that this team, the directors and the associate deans, the leadership team of the school, not the management team of the school, not the administrative team of the school, but the leadership team of the school needs to be in those meetings, not necessarily all of the meetings, but they need to be there for, we had a meeting the other day where Glenn Burks was talking about the evolution of the practice, of all of our practices, and had some great ideas he's putting onto the table, and it was the first time I'd heard him talk about those things, and it was really stuff that I want to hear more about, I think my colleagues want to hear more about. So I can tell you only from my perspective right now, and I'm willing to open my eyes up to the bigger picture once I see what's inside the box. But I can tell you right now where the biggest need is for me is that when I go to close a deal, right now I'm trying to do that, I maybe have about $35,000 to spend on attracting graduate students to come to my program. I need a cohort of about 20 to 25 students. $35,000 is squat. It doesn't do anything for me. So I can buy maybe 1 or 2 students, 3 or 4 students, and that's about it. I need to find ways to create more GATA positions that can also help to attract graduate students. Our best undergraduates are going elsewhere because it's cheaper to go elsewhere. They're even going to places like Yale because it's cheaper to go to Yale. Go think, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. So that's one thing. I do believe that one of the greatest ways for us to up the reputation of this school is to have chaired professor positions. We have none. And that's something that we dearly need to work on. That is absolutely crucial that we start a process of building recognition for the senior faculty in the school, having chaired positions that help us also to have more money from the public sector to put into other lines. And when I look at my colleagues from the University of Virginia, who over the past 15 years have been sending every year, sending 2 or 3 announcements of new faculty searches going on, and this is the first faculty search, well, we did this faculty search 2 years ago. We don't refresh this faculty enough. And this is really a crucial thing for the school. So the chair issue is a real issue in really getting us a higher level profile and getting us to where we need to be. We have a lot